Now you've been on the
7 o'clock, it's time to start our city council meeting tonight. Gene, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Here.
Mr. Barker.
Here.
Ms. Blind. Present. Mr. Shute.
Present.
Mr. Harris.
Here.
Mr. Hauser. Mr. Labutus.
Here.
Mr. Lang.
Present.
Mr. Marmy.
Present.
Mr. Rapp.
Two. Everyone's present. Now, will you please stand for the invocation by Ms. Blind and then remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Lord, thank you for your presence and your constant guidance. Lord, thank you that you see what lies ahead, God. And when we seek your face, oh God, you'll give us wisdom for the task and the journey ahead. Lord, we thank you. Thank you for all of our blessings, God. Thank you for blessing our safety forces. Thank you that we get to live in this great city. Lord, thank you for everyone present here. And give us the strength and courage to lead. Lord, we need your wisdom. Thank you, God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is caucus. We have Mr. Marmy.
I'm glad I don't have to excuse anyone.
Okay, I am too. Next is the minutes of July 17th, 2023, motion by Barker. Second by Labutus. All in favor, say aye. Passes 10-0. Next appointments, there are none this meeting. Reports of standing committees, finance and service will be received and filed objection. Reports from city officials, none this meeting. And there's no communications this meeting. Next up, we have a public hearing. 23-13. Janine, will you please read the public hearing?
Ordinance number 23-13 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Labutus. An ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 1339 West Main Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio. Parcel tax ID number 054-220-188-00.000 from that of GO General Office District to MB Medium Intensity Business District zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio.
Okay, you've heard the reading of the public hearing. Do we have anybody here to speak for or against 23-13? Come on up and give us your name and address, please.
My name is
Speak right at the podium.
My name is Stephen Brewer, and my address is 9800 Heron Drive in Thornville, Ohio. And I own the property, and it was a dentist office before I purchased it. And then I have a lady who has a business downtown North. They do hair, makeup, aesthetics, and she would like to rent that location from me there. And I feel like it'll be the same amount of traffic coming in and out as the dentist office was. And she is an existing business owner in downtown Newark already. And she plans on keeping that business downtown Newark and adding this as a second location.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak for or against? Oh. Or against? Okay, Janine, will you please read the public hearing again, please?
Ordinance number 23-13 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Labutus. An ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 1339 West Main Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, parcel tax ID number 054-220-188-00.000 from that of GO General Office District to MB Medium Intensity Business District zoning code of the city of Newark, Ohio.
Okay, you've heard the reading of this one, council. Does the council know that planning commission has recommended that we approve this? So,
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath.
make a motion to adopt 23-13.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Hauser. We have any discussion? We need to start.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
23-13, that's passed 10-0. Next up is resolution or ordinance 23-14.
Ordinance number 23-14 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Labutus. An ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as Morris Street, city of Newark, Licking County, Ohio. Parcel tax ID number 054-203118-00.000 from that of MB Medium Intensity Business and Single Family Residence RH High Density District to GC General Commercial District zoning code of the city of Newark, Ohio.
This is a public hearing. Do you have anybody to speak for or against?
Yeah. Again, Stephen Brewer, 9800 Heron Drive in Jordanville. This property is right across from Dormar, another property that I own, and my goal is to turn it just like another property next to it, which Owens Collision is in, and another auto body shop is in there. And I would like to take that vacant area along the railroad track where there is a lot of homeless gathering kind of through there, and I'd like to clean up that area and turn it into the same type of duplexes that Owens Collision is currently in. And my opinion, from being on the east side of Newark there, I think putting businesses there rather than apartments or more housing, and in my personal opinion, I feel like will help clean up the area of what we're trying to do already currently at Newark.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak for or against? Can you please call or read it again, please?
Ordinance number 23-14 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Labutus. An ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as Morris Street, city of Newark, Licking County, Ohio. Parcel tax ID number 054-203118-00.000 from that of MB Medium Intensity Business and Single Family Residence RH High Density District to GC General Commercial District zoning code of the city of Newark, Ohio.
I just want council to know that the planning commission has recommended that we approve this one also. So,
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath.
make a motion to adopt 23-14.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Ms. Blind. Any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes.
23-14 has passed 10-0. Next up is comments from citizens. We ask you to come to the podium, give your name and address, try to keep your comments around 3 minutes. Do we have anybody tonight? Come on up, man.
Hi,
Hi.
Jerry Good. I live at 12 North Park Place, Newark. A couple of things. I have something that I saw on Facebook over the weekend, so I said I would bring it up because there seemed to be a lot of talk about it. And it was the drinking fountains around the square not working. So that was as of, I guess, this weekend. I didn't personally go out and check them, but there were a lot of people commenting saying they haven't been operating for a while. And with all the heat, that was a major concern. I know someone said that there are places within buildings they can go, and someone also, I think from the library posted that they're welcome to come there. But if you're on the square that in heat, that's a little hike. So I said I would come here to speak on that. Someone also said the fountain at Everett Skate Park is not working. And also the one that was, I guess, repaired at the basketball court on East Main is not working again. And then they also mentioned the trash at the skate park was not being emptied. So I said I would come and speak on that. I know this isn't a back and forth, so I'm just making the comments. I had a question, and I don't know, again, you're not gonna comment. Does Newark have a 311 line? And that's for non-emergency business. It works well. I've used them before. It's for non-emergency like potholes, road hazards, street lights out, things like this would be taken care of. It could either be, well, it's usually a phone line plus, I think email, most likely social media now. But I thought it would be a good thing if we don't have it. And then people who have issues, they don't know necessarily where to go. I know I could have called places and reported the same thing, but I'm trying to set an example that, you know, you can take care of things, come here. If we had like 311, anybody could, you know, make their call and get an answer. So what I'm asking also is, I'll leave my name and phone number and my email, that once the water fountains are working, or if they're shown to be working, let me know. I'll go back to that same post and post that they're fixed. The other thing is an announcement. I'm with the Newark Citizens Police Alumni Academy, and we do fundraisers. We help the police, providing extra eyes on the street, that type of thing. And we're having a fundraiser this Saturday. It's a car show, car, truck, and motorcycle show at the police station this Saturday the 12th from 10 to 3. And we have quite a few raffle prizes. We'll have food trucks there. Should be a good turnout. So our organization helps the police with things like the canine dog food, different things like that. If police get injured, we can give some funds, that type of thing. So it's a good organization. I'm part of that. So I'll leave these flyers with you, and I'll leave this other with you, so someone can get back to me, and then I can get back to the other thing, I'm just gonna say, go vote tomorrow if you haven't voted. Been working on polls. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Come on up, sir.
Thomas Brenner, 419 South Second Street, Newark. First, started off with on one thing, that applied for working on the south end up in that area and doing what she's been doing, cleaned up and trying to do as much as she can do. Second, how can I say this without being the homeless situation? It's getting worse. And I'm sure everybody knows this. And we need to do something about it. I mean, I've talked to several people, well, you gotta watch what you do, how you do it, when you do it. And I mean, come on, with the laws and ordinances we got out there, there has to be something we can do to get these people outdoors. That's all there is to it. I mean, I remember years ago in 1978 when I was on strike at Owens Corning. I went down to the welfare department just to get stamps for food for me and my family when I was making $40 a week. I got turned down. Now you don't even have to do that. All you gotta do is be on drugs, be homeless, and you got people handing you clothes, blankets, needles to do your drugs, Narcan to straighten you up. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is Newark. Have pride in Newark. Take some pride in Newark. Step up for Newark. I mean, come on. I mean, 911, that's the most ridiculous call center there is. None of them know any addresses, any streets around Newark. You call, well, where's that at? Where's it by? When we had the dispatcher down here at the Newark Police Station, they knew everything that went on down there. They knew where everything was. You didn't have to wait 20 minutes on the phone explaining your situation to somebody. I mean, somebody that needs to train these dispatchers or else move it back down to the police station. I mean, that's uncalled for. And like we had one guy, okay, open containers walking up and down the streets illegal, correct? Okay, we had one guy that was in our neighborhood. He was half off his rocker, but he'd walk up the hill with a fifth of whiskey in his hand drinking it. You call and report him, by the time we got somebody up there, he was outside. And he was also irritating several neighbors in the neighborhood. He'd come up the street and go to each person's porch yelling and screaming. We got one set of neighbors down there that ain't even lived there a year. And they're already moved down the neighborhood. They went and bought another house to move because of the situation. They had 2 little kids. They don't want their children around that. We got another set of neighbors down there. They're, both of them's ex-military. They're talking about leaving. They've only lived there 2 years. Why should we have to chase people out of neighborhoods? Chase the ones out of neighborhoods that don't belong there. Let's clean up Newark. Come on, everybody think together and clean up Newark, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else at this opportunity? Okay, next up is ordinance on the second reading, 23-24.
Ordinance number 23-24 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Marmy. An ordinance annexing certain territory generally described as being 0.871 acres more or less located in Newark Township to the city of Newark, Ohio.
You heard the reading of 23-24. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath,
make a motion to adopt 23-24.
Second.
a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker.
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath,
let me make a motion to adopt 23-24. Those petitioning for this annexation, not all those names were included. So 23-24 is included in your packet and includes a complete list of petitioners requesting this annex.
so you want to make an amendment?
What I said, yeah.
Okay.
You said motion.
You said motion.
Good, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's why.
I'd like to make a motion to amend.
Okay. All right, there we go. So we got a motion to amend by Mr. Rath, and second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any more discussion? Can you please call the roll?
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yeah.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Shute,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yeah.
Mr. Rath.
Yes,
So that passed 10-0 on the amendment of 23-24 to 23-24A. Right, okay,
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath.
I make a motion to adopt 23-24A.
Already on the floor.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah. Just call the roll to adopt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Shute,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes,
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes,
so 23-24A has passed 10-0. Next up is 23-25.
Ordinance number 23-25 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Marmy, and Mr. Ryan. An ordinance annexing certain territory generally described as being 2.035 acres more or less located in Newark Township to the city of Newark, Ohio.
You heard the reading of 23-25. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath.
I make a motion to adopt 23-25.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rath to adopt, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion? Need please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Shute.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes,
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes,
23-25. That's passed 10-0. Next up is ordinance on the second reading, 23-26.
Ordinance number 23-26 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Marmy, and Mr. Ryan. An ordinance amending portions of chapter 1068 of the codified ordinances of the city of Newark, Ohio regarding prohibited acts and prohibited possessions in parks and recreation areas within the city of Newark, Ohio.
Heard the reading of 23-26. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath.
I make a motion to adopt 23-26.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Ms. Blind. Do we have any discussion on 23-26? Any please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind. Yes. Mr. Shute.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes,
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
Yes,
23-26 26 is passed 10-0. Next up is 23-28.
Ordinance number 23-28 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Marmy, an ordinance accepting the dedication to public use of the plat and streets in the Overlook subdivision located off Cherry Valley Road.
You've heard the reading of ordinance 23-28. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 23-28.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Barker. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shute?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
23-28 has passed 10-0. Next up is ordinance on the first reading, 23-29.
Ordinance number 23-29 by Mr. Rath, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 74 South 30th Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio. Parcel tax ID number 054-22188-00.00.000 from that of LB Limited Intensity Business District to GO General Office District, zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio.
This will be referred to the planning commission and back to council for vote on November the 6th. Next up is 23-30 on the first reading.
Ordinance number 23-30 by Mr. Rath, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 196 South Fifth Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, parcel tax ID number 054-215-028-00.000 from that of MB Medium Intensity Business District to MFR Multifamily Residence District, zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio.
23-30 will also be referred to the planning commission and back to council on November the 6th. Next up is resolutions on the second reading, 23-66.
Resolution number 23-66 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, Mr. Ryan, and Mr. Rath, a resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
You've heard the reading of 23-66. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
motion to adopt resolution 23-66. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lang. Any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shute?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
23-66 passed 10-0. Next up is 23-67.
Resolution number 23-67 by Mr. Rath, Mr. Barker, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Marmy, a resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service for the City of Newark, Ohio to enter into a lease purchase agreement with Park National Bank for the lease purchase of 8 police cruisers for the Division of Police.
Heard the reading of 23-67. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Rath?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt 23-67.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Labutus to adopt. Do we have any discussion on 23-67? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shute?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
That's 23-67 past 10-0. Next up is resolutions on the first reading, 23-68.
Resolution number 23-68 by Mr. Marmy, Ms. Blind, and Mr. Rath, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to prepare and submit applications to the United States Bureau of Justice Assistance for fiscal year 2023 Edward Burns Justice Assistance Grant funding.
Heard the reading of 23-68. What is your wish, Mr. Marmy?
Make a motion to waive the 2-day reading rule on resolution 23-68. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy, second by Mr. Lane to waive the 2-day reading rule. Janine, please call it.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shute?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
2-day reading rule has been waived.
Mr. President,
Yeah, go ahead.
make a motion to adopt resolution 23-68. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy to adopt, second by Mr. Lang. Do we have any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Blind?
Yes.
Mr. Shute?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Labutus?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Marmy?
Yes.
Mr. Rath?
Yes.
Resolution 23-68 is passed 10-0. And the last one tonight is resolution on the first reading 23-69.
Resolution number 23-69 by Mr. Marmy, Mr. Rath, and Ms. Blind. A resolution appropriating monies for current expenses of the municipal corporation.
You heard the reading of 23-69. What is your wish?
Mr. President,
Mr. Marmy?
make a motion to waive the two-day reading rule on resolution 23-69.
Second.
Mr. Marmy waived the two-day reading rule, second by Mrs. Blind. Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
yes,
Two-day reading rule has been waived. Mr. Marmy, what's your wish?
To adopt resolution 23-69.
Got a motion by Mr. Marmy to
Second.
adopt, second by Ms. Blind. Any discussion? Janine, please call the roll.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Blind.
Yes.
Mr. Shute.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Labutus.
Yes.
Mr. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. Marmy.
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
yes.
23-69 is passed 10-0. That completes the ordinance and resolutions tonight. Next, we have your last opportunity, comments from citizens. Do we have anybody tonight? Name and address, try to keep it to 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Peter Crawford, 163 South Second Street. Had a few things, I'll try to keep it within 3 minutes though. Last council meeting I missed and I didn't realize it was gonna be Don Ellington's last council meeting, so. I wanted Don to know that I would personally miss him, he was always kind to me, so. Yeah, I will regret not being able to say that first. The reason I missed though is because 3 days before that council meeting, there was a passing, which of course Newark Homeless Outreach came up and spoke at that council meeting about a couple people who they served who died. And the morning of July 14th, someone who was homeless and an addict was found dead, and they were known on the streets by either two nicknames, either Jeremiah or Lucifer. The latter nickname was kind of misleading because his real name was James Glenn Moran, and he was many things other than an addict or a homeless person. He was a father, obviously a son, a brother, and a stepbrother to me. And, obviously everyone here knows that I don't just speak of loving homeless when a loved one dies or a loved one is homeless. It's an issue near and dear to my heart. But I just think that I needed to come up here and speak about, because not only was he a citizen of Newark, who just happened to not be in a home, but I thought it was important to commemorate him publicly because he was a kind person despite that nickname. And he will be dearly missed, obviously by me, his blood relatives, and most certainly his children, who were too young to be able to get to know him, very personally. So one thing I just wanted to bring up, and I won't be here for very long after this because I'm not going to be able to hold it together. Just remember that each of these people who are homeless or addicts are more than that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Ian Smith, 337 Violet Court, Newark. Well, I was going to basically speak on the same issue that Daniel talked about, and there's no way I could add much of anything substantive to Daniel's eloquent speech. Just say that while I don't speak for the Newark Homeless Outreach, I have done some volunteering for them. And I have the greatest respect for the work they do. And it is a failure of us all, every citizen in this town, that someone had to die for the lack of for this person's lack of help, not having help. This is a case where anyone's loss diminishes us all. I think there is much that can be done and should be done to help the situation in the homeless situation, or I agree with the gentleman that spoke earlier. We should do something to eliminate homelessness in this town. But I don't think dragging them out of the city is the way to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak tonight?
Very bad cough. Down on. Where do I live?
Tell where it lives, Mike.
Come on. I don't send myself mail. Easy Street Park. Did you have a party there the other day?
It wasn't my party.
Again, somebody's party. It looked like it was well attended. I think that's a great idea. Hometown Heroes. Mayor, you was there. What a great idea. We honor our heroes. If anybody, I'm supposed half the council was there, you better have been. Because it was a great time, great choice of music. I was really apprehensive about the second group. They did good. They did good. I did leave and go to a prayer meeting though, you know, during it. They did great, great choice of music, volume. There shouldn't have been anyone at all complaining about volume up on Second Street or wherever. Thank you, Mr. Brewer. The gazebo, last time they had music there, it was great, but it was not advertised. Somehow, some way, there must be a website that we can get out because it was great. It really, really, really was. And we go by there a bunch, a couple, 3 times a day. I happen to live down close to there. And we just happened to stumble by it. So it was great. Okay, now the mayor's concert at the canal. The mayor wasn't even there. The mayor was not at his concert. There was more band members than there were the general public. So once again, we need to get the word out. Okay, wasn't that great? Now, a few months ago, we were going to address a problem we have at the Salvation Army. That problem has not, it's got bigger. In fact, we drive by to see how many cities are there every evening. Oh, about 6 o'clock. Friday night, about midnight, they had, I don't know if we had any other cop cars anywhere in Licking County because the place was packed. There was even a fire truck. And I think it was Friday night or Thursday night, whatever. It was around midnight. That is a waste of our money. What I would like to, they were going to check into it. You folks talked about it. I was wondering if there's a Salvation Army in Lancaster, Mount Vernon, and Zanesville, if they are having the same. Is it a problem? I think it is. Some people don't. So anyhow, we need to look into that. Another thing I think we should check into is dog licensing. I know I had a little Shih Tzu, 15 years old. They always remind me I need a dog license. We have more pit bulls in Newark, Ohio right now than we do any other, all the breeds combined. And at one time, sir, Mr. Rath, we had an ordinance because of the history of the pit bulls. But as I recall, when you were instrumental in trying to get them on an even keel as our Chihuahuas and our Shih Tzus and our Black Labs, well, now they're out of control. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? City officials. Law director.
Just briefly, because I really have other things to get to. I was also at the hometown heroes event. My grandfather's one of the people honored in a family this year. I heard that was a great event. It was something that I would like to attend every year and just congratulate the Veterans Association as well as the city. You gave a great speech on wonderful events for inner veterans. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor,
I will pass the way, thank you.
up first is Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will pass the line as well.
Next up, Mr. Barker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to echo the comments on Newark Summerfest and Hometown Heroes. My grandfather was also recognized, as well as my wife's grandfather, down right in front of the library, one of the hometown heroes for this year, and it was a great event. I was there earlier in the evening, great turnout. I saw different images on social media, and it looked like the crowd just kept through. I want to give kudos to our police and fire departments for how they handled Pelotonia coming through the city. I know that was the first time we had Pelotonia through the city of Newark. I myself forgot Saturday morning and got stuck in the traffic on 21st Street, but they handled it all extremely well, and had some family and friends who were riders who said that it was great protection for the riders on Dio Drive in the area where they were in. So thank you for that. I want to thank Director Rhodes and Buster Prince for for completing the project on Swansea at the island there, Swansea and Bryn Mawr. I've been getting some phone calls regarding just it had kind of stalled and they were waiting for materials. So that's been completed, and have already got a lot of comments from residents who like the hardscaping the city's doing. So kudos, Director Rhodes, to you and your team on that. Want to welcome an addition to downtown Newark, the Mariposa Mexican restaurant, owned by the Athan family. They did 1922. It's been a fantastic addition to downtown. Every time I've gone, it is packed. So definitely check that out if you haven't. Mr. Babcock, want to address the dog licensing. That's handled by the county. That's handled by the county. The county auditor's office handles the dog licensing. I know that because my wife licenses our dog every year. And as far as Salvation Army, you and I have not spoke about it, but I've spoke to others. And I've reached out to a few of their board members, and their board members are trying to work with their lieutenants on a solution. I think you made a comment about Lancaster. Lancaster does have a Salvation Army, but it's not. I've been near it. It's not really in their downtown area. It's outside of their downtown near 33. So I just want to comment on that, I have addressed it with board members. They are working on it. They agree that there is an issue, but finding the right solution is going to take some time. With that, I would just like to thank everybody for coming in. We have a lot more to go through tonight after the comments from everybody, but just thank everybody for coming tonight and making their opinion heard. We don't know what's going on unless you tell us. So we appreciate it. With that, I'll pass. Thank you, Ms. Watt.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Good, is it okay if I call you, since you have kind of a list and we can talk about it, because I have some information. I'd like to thank the Newark Apartment Association. We were able to go speak there, and they do a great job, and it's just great to be able to get into some problem solving situations. And Michael and I, we just had a great time doing it. And are we still working on things? Absolutely. Mr. Babcock was there. He's always a joy. Being his presence. And so we thank you for that opportunity. And if you ever have a chance to go to that meeting, there's going to be some really interesting topics coming up. And so happy maintenance, hopefully we'll be there soon, as well as creative reconstruction. That's going to be a great topic. I'm excited about that. I'd like to thank Representative Claggett for the track study that he was a part of. We were able to submit data to him. Still working on that, as well as his collaboration to transition or continue to work on transitioning a piece of property from Newark to the former historical society. So I'm grateful for that. Mr. Bruner, he brings up a point that's gone into hours of work over the summer. There have been, I think I've lost track of the number of meetings, porch meetings, online, phone calls. And so we've decided to do what we can do. I mean, we want to be supportive of our police force and the drug task force. And so citizens are learning to document, and that's great. They're calling the NPD. They're getting call records of the calls that they've made. They're writing, even writing police reports. They're willing to go to court to pursue accountability. And this is a great thing. We've been knocking on doors in communities to help get people become part of not just a watch group, but an action group. So they can be the biggest help to our NPD as possible. And so with that in mind, I'd like to thank NPD and the Drug Task Force for some recent things that were set down and taken care of. It was great for that neighborhood. And I know everybody on that street has noticed the difference, and we're all grateful. And again, I'd like to thank the rental owners and the apartment owners who are choosing to help us out. And with this documentation, it's a great thing. And I'd like to thank our law director for, I know we're getting together. And so, so I appreciate her time, you know, as that meeting is drawing near. So, and with that,
Thank you, Mr. Chief. Mr. Hauser,
Mr. President, I also pass.
Mr. Labutus.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few quick things. I wanted to thank the Miller branch of the Licking County Library. They had an event where I was there, and Mr. Hauser and Mr. Barker joined me a few weeks ago. Had an opportunity to talk to some of the residents around the fourth ward and some other wards as well that were there, and get some direct contact and feedback from them. So that was a great event, and I appreciate both of them showing up as well. And then enjoyed attending the Part Excellence STEM Academy opening this past Friday as well. So it's a great event, had a great turnout. If you haven't yet, vote tomorrow. That I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Lang.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to echo Mr. Barker's comments on the police force handling Pelotonia. I got stuck on the wrong side of things, and they were really nice to deal with and helped me through. So I really appreciate the service there from our safety force. And I just need to call a personnel committee meeting, and I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Marmy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Need to call a finance committee meeting for August 21st. I'm gonna start out with Pelotonia. First of all, it's nice to see some officers in uniform that had not been in uniform for years. So it was kind of fun to see that. Not only that, for those of you that don't know, typically there's a death every single year in Pelotonia. And this year, when they came through Newark, there was no fatalities. It is unbelievable how many fatalities do occur over the years during that bike race. And I was literally worried about it, knowing that that happens. And our folks were just stellar. I mean, I live up in that area. I drove through that area in the morning. They were there when no other bikes were there. They were there when hundreds of bikes were there, and they did a great job. And I really do appreciate everyone that was out there. It was not the coolest of days, so I do appreciate what they did there. And thank you very much for those of you that are here this evening. Yeah, I want to echo some of the different things. The Summerfest, Mariposa, unbelievable food. I really enjoyed that, and look forward to frequenting it often. I got the something that I can't even pronounce, but it was just phenomenal. So, the 311, I'm going to comment on that. I'll just be honest, we don't have the staffing for that. We do have things in place for each one of the items that you mentioned, though. The potholes, the C-Click fix, I mean, they are just on that. And if you hit that C-Click fix on our website, I think it's phenomenal. As far as who to contact for different issues, you're looking at us up here. And then what happens then is we usually know where to go to. So we are your 311 right up here, your representatives. And then from there, we assist you. Sometimes I have had to say, well, it's better if you call because you'll get more done quicker if you call than if I do. And that's the truth. They really do take priority over citizens' calls. So, just realize that. Mr. Barker already commented about the dog licensing being handled by the county. And the last thing I just want to speak on is the homelessness. Mr. Bruner, I can agree with you that it is getting worse and it is an issue, and we do need to do something about it. Homelessness, though, is not a violation of the law, and we need to make sure that we only address those issues that are violating our laws within the city of Newark. We're not chasing out folks who are not, that some folks are down on their luck for a particular period of time, and they want to get back, and they're trying to get back, and we're trying to help them to get back. Being homeless is not a crime. Those folks who are homeless, who are committing crimes, though, need to be addressed, and I agree with that. I believe that, the solicitation, the panhandling, and I know there's some various opinions about that, but we need to find a solution for that. It is becoming a safety concern. Our citizens don't feel secure, don't feel safe. They're in our right of ways. They're in front of Walmart. They're in front of other stores. They're on exit ramps, even though that has slowed down somewhat. But we do need to do something about that and address that. I want to make sure that we have laws in place that are fair, that are equitable and non-discriminatory. But we also need to do things that are the best things for our citizens. And right now they're scared and they don't like what they're seeing. And if folks are panhandling on 21st Street, up and down 21st Street, and you have 10 help wanted signs in stores, while we have that equal number of people who are trying to panhandle and just get free money, there's something wrong and we need to address it. So I think that I agree with you on some aspects of it, but we need to realize that it's not against the law to be homeless, and we don't want to just chase them out. We want to find solutions for them to either not be homeless any longer or get them the help that they need. Those are the solutions. And with that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Mr. Rath?
Thank you. Yeah, it was good. I wanted to say the same thing. The C-Click Fix website is a great way to get potholes and stuff like that made. Mr. Marmy hit the nail on the head. We argued 311. And now I responded to an issue, a neighborhood issue a couple of weeks ago, and one neighbor who had called me several times over the years for different issues, introduced me to his neighbor. He's like, well, what can you do as a city councilman? A response to him was, I can't do a thing, but I know who to call that can. So we were able to get issues resolved. So give us a call. I mean, whoever is available to help you, we'll definitely help you out. And don't be afraid to send our name out, our phone number out and stuff like that. Mr. Babcock, the rules I've already talked about licensing. It is a requirement. It is a law. As far as pit bulls being out of hand, I really don't understand and kind of take issue with that. Chihuahuas are great, Shih Tzus are great, Black Labs are great, pit bulls are great. The reason that if you mean out of hand because the population is increasing, it's a phenomenal dog. It's a great dog. It has always been known in the past as a nanny dog. And I'm not here to debate the issue about pit bulls or other bulldogs or things like that. They're great dogs, but if the population is getting out of control, I don't think that's the case because they're all owned. But if the population is growing, I'm okay with that because out of control means that we have a lot of dog bites and a lot of dog attacks. And quite honestly, that since we've lessened or taken away the vicious dog ordinance that declared all pit bulls vicious from date of birth on, we have had a significant increase of dog attacks by pit bulls. So I'm okay with that. I really am. And something else I wanted to say. I forget what it was, so I guess I'll call it service committee meeting for 21st and I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Rath. The car show Saturday at the police station, is that the one that we were at last year? Where you clocked me up running at 45 miles per hour?
That was our. That was our community day, that wasn't the.
Okay, all right. I got it mixed up.
It was 9 miles an hour.
I said 45 miles per hour.
4.5, I believe. 4.5.
All right, with that, our next council meeting would be August 21st. Do I have a motion to adjourn? All the motion by Louis. Second by Lang. All in favor, say aye. Aye.